Hi, my name's Phil. I'd like to talk about politics. And as Donald Trump suggests that the battle lines should be frozen where they are between Ukraine and Russia, Volodymyr Zelenskyy has said Trump's proposal is a good compromise. Obviously, accepting any loss of sovereign territory is no compromise at all when Ukraine gets absolutely nothing in return and the territory was taken illegally by force. But is it now safe for the Ukrainian government to make statements like this because they know it's a compromise which is more costly for Russia than Ukraine? Zelenskyy has once again called Putin's bluff. How will Trump respond when yet again it becomes painfully obvious that Russia will not end the war under any realistic circumstances? But first, for daily news and politics, please click the subscribe button to stay notified. So as I discuss this, I see in the news that Russia has not only launched a huge strike against Ukraine again, but has bombed a kindergarten during the daytime full of kids. That's what they're doing. So, I am intending on talking about the Russian war again tomorrow, but from a different angle. But I want to look at the politics here with this sort of new statement. So the sands have shifted again. It was not that long ago that Trump, enraged by Putin humiliating him in Alaska, was saying that Ukraine could and should take back all of its territory. None of this, well, you give up that and then they'll give up this. And he was considering letting them use Tomahawk missiles. But then Putin gave him a call and reminded the orange one that it is the Russian president, not the American president, who decides US military policy, and that no Tomahawk should be supplied. So then Trump, suitably chastened, told the media, we won't actually be giving them Tomahawk missiles. We need them for ourselves. Trump is also providing a block at the G7 level to freeing up funds from Russian assets to help fund Ukraine's defence. So in the blink of an eye, Trump went from being as close to Ukraine's side as we've ever seen him to almost back to square one, although at least maintaining a more respectful tone than in February. On Truth Social, Trump said that there should be an immediate deal which stops the killing and that territorial lines should be set where they currently are. He tries to suggest that this statement is born of concern for the people being killed and their grieving families. It's not, of course. As I've said before, Trump's interest in peace, in the terms he understands the word peace, is purely commercial. His business mindset sees peace as lucrative and war as expensive, which is better than the other way around. But it still means he doesn't care about real peace. He doesn't care about peace in people's lives, only the absence of battles. Well, abroad anyway. He doesn't seem to mind battles in his own country, does he? Zelenskyy has said that he strongly supports Trump's position that the fighting should stop immediately and that the current line of contact should be the starting point for negotiations. He's calling Putin's bluff, of course. Zelenskyy cannot agree to cede Ukrainian territory any more than any head of government could of their own country, and his people would not want him to. So why is it safe and sensible for Ukraine to take this stance at this time? Well, one obvious reason is that Ukraine may not be getting the support from the United States that would be provided if the US were acting in America's interest, but it is still getting vital support. And this support seems to take the form of four main kinds. The first is economic sanctions, limiting Putin's ability to fund his war effort. If the US lifts these sanctions, Europe cannot just increase their own to compensate. The second is intelligence support. Now, it was catastrophic for Ukraine early this year when that was temporarily halted. This is not something Ukraine or its real allies can replace. The third, of course, is satellite support, very much linked to it. I don't think anyone is happy on being reliant on Starlink, but they are. If this could be replaced, I would have thought they'd have already done so. And fourth, of course, military equipment supplies. This is now being supplied on a commercial basis, but even though it's been paid for, Trump could still halt supplies. So four areas in which Trump is reluctantly helping Ukraine and where he would almost certainly feel justified pulling that support, and he's under pressure from Putin to do so every day, if he can claim Ukraine is prolonging the war. So if there were no other reason, agreeing with Trump's position is strategically the only real option for Zelenskyy. However, there's another layer of logic and safety for Ukraine as well. So Trump says that there should be an immediate ceasefire and that the territories should remain under their current nation of control. His Truth Social post doesn't talk about the negotiations, and his last word on those is you don't need them, of course. But if the fighting stops, I can't imagine he would object. Zelenskyy has said he's up for this. What about Putin? No, and he won't agree to it. Zelenskyy knows this. He knows that it will be Putin who refuses to do what Trump is demanding, and that if Zelenskyy keeps positioning his government such that it's in step with Trump, and the world keeps seeing that it's Russia refusing to respect Trump's demands, then even if Putin keeps tickling Trump's belly, the US president cannot realistically blame Ukraine for the problems. But why wouldn't Putin agree? Well, I seem to think there are three main reasons why Putin may be comfortable openly refusing Trump's suggestions, even if it risks more support for Ukraine. The first is that Putin has a history, including very recent history, like literally days ago, of persuading Trump to at least limit his support for Ukraine. How many of Trump's red lines has Putin already crossed, and yet not a single threat has been actioned by the orange one? You know, the bill, the cross-party bill for more sanctions against Russia, it's 7 months now that it's been ready. Putin, and Trump has gone, yeah, I'm good, yeah. If he crosses this line, oh, he's crossed that line. If he crosses the next, oh, he's crossed it again. It's still nothing. I could understand Putin thinking he can humiliate Trump with impunity at this point. The second is the economic problems which would result. Russia is operating a war economy. What does that mean exactly? It means they're spending vast sums of money on military equipment factories, pumping out munitions and all sorts day and night. Now, if peace broke out, Russia, okay, it'll still want to replenish stockpiles. It'll still need some factories, but it doesn't need to keep those factories running with the same output as now. So what happens to the workers? You know, then there are the troops being funneled into the meat grinder. Okay, you need some troops stationed in place so Ukraine don't just waltz in and take their land back. But you don't need anywhere near as many troops to defend territory as you do to take it, especially when there's supposed to be a ceasefire in place. Russia are maintaining an invasion level force in Ukraine. Yes, I know it's not a very good one, but still, the numbers are there. Can't justify funding that when there's no invasion going on. So Putin would be left with a large number of young men, many of whom have now been trained to kill, although probably quite poorly, to be fair, based on the evidence, and now unemployed in what is not exactly a vibrant economy where a lot of people are hungry. Russia is taking economic hits from the collapse of coal prices. Now, more on that tomorrow, because that could be huge, but also to Ukraine strikes on oil refineries. They've been denied Tomahawk missiles. I mean, that predates Trump. That's going a long way back. But what did they do? They just made their own long-range missiles, the Flamingos. Imagine Putin trying to restructure an already crumbling economy without causing even more social upheaval. Then there's the third likely reason. By his own standards, his military goals have not been met. Putin doesn't strictly need the whole of Ukraine to claim victory, but he does need much more than he has. Now, he may keep people on side if they think the ceasefire is just a ruse, just a pause while he prepares to go again. He's got form for that. He's done it before. But Putin needs Ukraine to be neutered before he dares freeze any battle lines. After all, with Europe taking the threat from Russia more seriously now, what if the ceasefire leads to Ukraine rearming more quickly than Russia can? So I think Zelenskyy is confident that Trump will not insist on the specific conditions which Putin will demand, because that means more fighting, not less. And he's equally confident that Putin will not accept any ceasefire which leaves Ukraine and European allies free to bolster those defences, more easily train their troops and develop stronger economic ties with the EU. Zelenskyy is probably very safe agreeing to Trump's version of the ceasefire here because he believes Putin can't afford to. But let me know what you think in the comments below. And for more content, you could subscribe to the channel or even join for access to streams and behind the scenes updates. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.